Is reputation important to a leader? To the best leaders it is. Stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, we inspire. We're working on a series based upon the book Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun by a gentleman named Wess Roberts, MD. And we're just going over some of his nuggets. We're going over them and then we're applying them to real life so we can see the practicality of each of these little bits of advice. So let's get right back to it. Attila was well schooled in the power of rumor. He knew that advantageous rumor in the hearts and minds of 10 could result in thousands becoming his victims. Thus, through rumor, many obstacles to his great conquest could be removed. He considered himself to be above the reproach of the masses. Therefore, his reputation was important to him and him alone. He knew who he was, what he could achieve. His reputation was not as important to his feelings of self-worth as it was to influencing the outcome of battles and negotiations. Thus, Attila turned a nickname that in certain circles might have been considered unflattering into an advantage, and in doing so, gained riches for his treasury and tribute from untold thousands. Now, when I read that, again, the first person I thought of was my 8th grade math teacher, Mrs. Mellis, aka Piano Legs. All right, there were a couple of different math teachers, in the 8th grade, and it's like, all right, which one am I going to get? Not Mrs. Mellis, not Mrs. Mellis. I got Mrs. Mellis. My sister had Mrs. Mellis. Mrs. Mellis was unbelievably strict. In her class, you needed to be disciplined. You needed to be quiet, all right? She was not a timid woman. One of the most challenging experiences that an 8th grader could face in those days in Mrs. Mellis's class was, Eli's dad, why don't you go up to the board? Gonna do a product on the board. Gotta do a math problem on the board. Mrs. Mellis had the reputation, but you know what? The kids in her class did much better than the kids in the other class. She made it work. It was her reputation. And I'm sure in private life, she wasn't such a miserable old witch. I'm sure she was a very nice lady. But the point is, reputation of a leader can have a meaning. Bob Anderson, the same thing. When Mr. Anderson would go into these offices, it was like people sitting around the campfire saying, oh, when he came in, he moved every stick of furniture in the entire office. He would do things like that, all right? I saw him yell and scream at a guy, and I won't do that because it's X-rated, all right? It was just the guy and me and him, and I was there as his mentee, and I, after it was over and he had just really blew this guy out of the building, I said, Bob, he said, hey, win-win situation. He's either going to respond or he's going to react. If he responds, fantastic. Now I have somebody that I can work with. He's going to take the stuff I gave him and he's going to work better. If he reacts to it, fantastic. Then I don't have to worry about him anymore and I can spend time on people that are going to be more productive for me. Is that an attitude or what? What a reputation. Bob Anderson, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it is noble to accord the proper courtesy and recognition of stature to one in an office over you. It is wise to pay deference to your peers and subordinates as well. If a chieftain does not command the respect of his Huns and that of his foes, he is weak and held to be undeserving of his title. Hey, when the chips are down, if you're not respected as the leader by the people that you're working with or by the opposition, in a basketball game, if the other coach is like, well, he's not such a good coach, it's like, all right, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, they'll never figure it out, so on and so forth. And you have an advantage just in confidence, just in winning the game. There's like an old story about, Bob Knight, who was, perhaps, an unbelievably great coach, but can safely be said that he would be bullying other people. And One of the things he said was, he was playing this game and it was a tie score and they were getting down to the end and he was thinking about what he was going to do. And then he said, I looked down at the other bench and I looked at the coach and I said, oh, it's going to be okay. He's not much of a coach. All right. So, that type of thing, that reputation makes a difference. Now, respect may be born of fear, real or perceived, as in my notoriety. Now, keep in mind, this is Attila speaking, as the scourge of God, he was called that. When deference is born of fear, however, it results in an unwillingness to serve and becomes manifested as passive resistance to authority and purpose. It further leads to subversion, to sabotage, and to generally low morale among those you are attempting to lead. Okay, you can either run things by fear or you can run things through inspiration. Guess which is the more effective way to go? People that are the best leaders are the ones that inspire, that get you to do something that you want to get done because you've created a vision that makes it advantageous for them to want to get done also. In this company that I worked with, achieving certain levels, a certain production level as far as your individual sales, and then as your office sales, and then as your team sales, different offices together, made a difference in how much money you made. The key thing was, though, you wanted to get those things done. They were good for your benefit, and they were also good for the benefit of the team. If you can do that, that's the best kind of inspiration. Real deference results in unyielding loyalty, a tribe full of spirit and willing to follow their chieftain into the mouth of hell if necessary for the cause of the nation. Once again, share the vision, sell the dream, inspire. A chieftain's office is accepted by all as a position of greater privileges because of increased responsibilities. Who of you would aspire to such an office if it brought no greater merit or privilege than that of an ordinary Hun? Okay, you want to advance, you're making more money, you get more bennies. All right, that's a good thing. Our system of deference prescribes recognized advantages as reward for effort, enterprise, and accomplishment. The Hunnish people will acknowledge the privilege attending our various offices of leadership only so long as the demanded deference is reasonable and possesses no harm to them. They're willing to grant such deference to those brave enough to lead the way, for they themselves see such respect as a cheap price to pay someone else to take on the responsibilities of leadership. When you have additional responsibilities of leadership, you are entitled to more benefits. Don't take what you're not entitled to. Okay? Too many leaders get in a position and they feel like, okay, people are here to serve me. Remember, servant leadership. You're there to serve. Sometimes as the leader, you need more advantages. Like the President of the United States needs a private plane, needs people protecting him. You follow what I'm saying? That's what we're getting at. So with the office goes the deference. I must caution you, however, there are subtle aspects of paying and receiving deference that will make the deciding difference in one who leads by notoriety and one who leads with nobility, that is, inspiration. My words of counsel are, always accept the responsibility and privilege of your office seriously. Never should you exercise your authority to the disadvantage of your subordinates. Never should you exact more privilege from your office than your subordinates are willing to grant. Wow, right on. Can't say it any better than that. You are your reputation. If people speak evil of you, erroneously attribute misdeeds to you, and it will not serve a greater purpose, you must do away with those adversaries, or you must behave in a manner that will encourage them to amend that judgment. It isn't easy being the scourge of God, but it has its advantages in dealing with the enemy. And people think I'm that bad a guy. All right, if my hordes are going to, create such havoc, that works to my advantage. Among my own people, however, I seek no reputation. For if they perceive me as having such a wicked intent, I would not long serve as their king. The king may use his fury and power to gain tribute from the enemy. However, a chieftain has no such privilege. Although as king, I must rely on my chieftains to wisely use their power to influence the actions of their Huns, I, Attila, will hastily remove any chieftain who supposes similar influences over me. Don't blackmail the boss, right? Don't blackmail the boss. Put yourself in a position of strength. I put myself in a position of strength when I wanted to be manager of an office. I had taken several offices, helped them grow. I had a track record. I had a position of strength. I said, Mr. Anderson, I'm ready for my own office. He said, Eli's dad, you've earned it. Never should a chieftain fret over privilege. The responsibilities of office should always prevail. Deference comes to the chieftain who does not seek it for the sake of privilege alone. You'll get your goodies, you'll get your privileges as you earn them. Don't overstep. The deference that attends any office of leadership is confirmed by custom, yet it is modified by circumstance. What stands as privilege in the court or palace sometimes has utmost importance on the seldom has utmost importance on the battlefield or in foreign territory. It depends where you are. You can be the leader, in your group, but when you're in a different place, a different space, under different circumstances, you're the leader, but you're not going to get all the benefits of being the leader in a different place. Understand that and accept it. Any promotion will require an adjustment on your part as well as on the part of those who remember you in your former role. When you promote people from within and they had peers before they promoted, that is a difficult challenge to accept. It's an awkward situation where once you were on the same level, now that person's up here or you're up here and you have to give orders. People don't like to get orders. But once you position yourself as the leader and they accept it, and that will take some time. So be used to the fact that it's not going to happen like that. It's going to take some time. There's going to be an adjustment period. Don't be such a hard guy. Recognize that. Work with them and say to them, look, we're in different positions now. Now I'm your boss. I need your help. Can you cooperate with me? Because I would really appreciate it. And when you say something like that, boom, you're going to find that you're going to get a lot more cooperation. Always pay proper courtesy to your subordinate leaders. Should you fail to accord them respect, so will their subordinates. Paying deference to your adversaries is essential. Once you fail to recognize their abilities, influence, and potential, they may gain advantage over you. Pay attention, give the proper respect to the people that are below you. Don't criticize them in front of the people that they're leading. That takes away from their credibility. That takes away from their authority. Always do that in private. And if you have a particular enemy, all right, then make sure that you give them the proper respect. I'm speaking in sports, but an enemy can be the circumstances, can be a virus as an example, all right? Give it the proper respect that it deserves. With this counsel, I share with you, chieftains, the duty of seeing to it that every position of leadership is paid deference appropriate to its incumbent responsibilities, and that this deference is acceptable to those Huns whom we serve, and respected by our adversaries, the Romans. Nevertheless, lest we become trapped in our own importance, do not underestimate the power of the empire to influence the course of the Hunnish nation. Circumstances change opinions. Okay? Once again, understanding, accepting deference, giving deference, and respect. And you don't have to be Aretha Franklin to understand respect. And as always, hey, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.